If a missional movement can start with you and your friends, which of course we believe it can, then it must begin with you becoming an apprentice. Apprenticeship really is the heartbeat of a missional church movement, and it's responding to the call of Jesus when he said, "Come follow me." In this chapter, we're going to take a look at 3 qualities or characteristics of an apprentice of Jesus. And we're also going to profile someone that we really believe is living it out, what it means to answer that call to come and follow Jesus. Her name is Cher Sheets, and I think you'll find her story really interesting and helpful as you consider what it would look like for you to also become an apprentice of Jesus.
It was sometime in college that the Lord first gave me a dream that was way bigger than I could have ever accomplished on my own, and I talked about it, and I sought God on it for days and weeks and years of college, and I sought extra training, and I even went overseas as a missionary for a year to get some more training in cross-cultural ministry. When I got done with my first year in the mission field, I came out here to Illinois and applied for school at Wheaton College to get my master's in intercultural studies. And it was during that time that I really faced a lot of challenges in my dreams, and I came to terms with a lot of the issues that were still at work in my life, and felt very much like a failure, like I really didn't have it together, and I couldn't accomplish these dreams that God had placed in my life on my own. And I was very humbled and very broken. And all of this journey just kind of culminated in one specific summer where I'd planned my dreams after grad school, and I was going to go overseas full time and be a missionary, dedicate my life to getting kids off the street and into safe homes. And all those dreams fell to pieces, and all the plans that I had put into place to be who I felt like God had called me to be didn't happen. And I was left sleeping on a small couch at a friend's house, and working as a babysitter whenever I could get hours to pay my bills, and going on really, really long bike rides. And it was during those bike rides that I really reconnected to the dream giver, to the Lord who had given me those dreams back in my undergraduate studies years before. And it was during that time that I really was able to connect to his heartbeat and find out more about the dream giver himself, that then empowered the next steps of my life. And it was during that time then that I came to a seminar here at Community Christian Church called Discover the Dream. And I had no idea what I was coming into, but that night I felt like the Lord was handing me back my big dream after all of these years of just really being humbled and broken and understanding more of the character of God. And when he handed me back my big dream, I was overwhelmed by it, and I knew that if that was the path my life was going to take, it had to be led by the Lord. It couldn't be something that I did with his blessing. He had to lead every step of the way. One of the first things that I felt God asking me to step out in faith and obedience didn't even make sense, didn't add up to the dream that God had given me in my heart. And it was being intentional relationally with the street community in downtown Chicago, and just investing every week in relationships there. And I realized that although there are men and women on the streets of Chicago, and my heart beats for children overseas, or so I thought, that it was through developing those relationships that God was actually preparing me in ways that I could have never been prepared had I just moved overseas and started working with children in an orphanage somewhere. And so the path that God has had me on is really preparing me so much better for the dreams he's put in my heart. And I've realized that regardless of what the future holds, as far as my big dreams go, it's much more about following the dream giver and allowing him to direct and prepare me for his dreams, because my understanding of his dreams is directly related to me today and what I can understand about him. And I'm going to know him so much better in the years and decades to come. Through this relational, intentional ministry in Chicago, I've had the opportunity to bring people alongside and invite them and say, "Hey, Chelsea, hey, Lisa, hey, Chris, hey, Brad and Andrew, come with me. Let's go to Chicago and just hang out with these people." And these are men and women that none of us would have stopped to talk to a year and a half ago. And then now this community in downtown Chicago, a mixture of young adults and hustlers and drug dealers and prostitutes and heroin addicts. This community that's taken place and been formed in Chicago is it's so much more than a ministry or a service. It really is. It's relationships. And my heart has been connected to hearts that I never would have thought I would have been connected with, as well as a lot of others that have come alongside. And I've watched these other men and women as we've come into the city and I've kind of led the way. I've seen them change and grow and develop, and now they go on their own sometimes during the week, and their relationships aren't they're their relationships, and so they've invested in these people, and there are real bonds and real community happening between individual people that, again, never would have even looked each other in the eye a year and a half ago. I'll always be a big dreamer. I've always been a big dreamer, and I'll always be a big dreamer, but something that I think that I finally understand is that in order to really be used to accomplish God's dreams in this world, I have to stay connected to the dream giver. And through that and bringing others alongside of me here at my time at Community Christian Church as a leadership resident, I have had opportunities and influence to lead in a capacity that I never would have been able to dream of a year and a half ago. And all of my plans of education and long-term mission service never would have propelled me to the type of influence and opportunity to lead that I have had through submitting myself to God's dreams for my life and allowing Him to direct that path instead of trying to figure it out on my own.